Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Asif Ali Syed from the Department of Business Administration, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Today, we shall be discussing about the module Business Plan Preparation of the paper Skill Development and Social Entrepreneurship. After completing this module, the students will be able to understand the concept and relevance of business plans required in entrepreneurship, and they would get familiar with the requisite skills creating a business plan towards conceptualizing a business idea. Introduction to business plan. A business plan is a written representation of the vision of the business. It is a story of the venture written by an entrepreneur describing all the relevant internal and external elements involved in starting a new venture. It is often an integration of functional plans such as marketing, finance, manufacturing and human resources. It also addresses both short-term and long-term decision making for the first 3 to 5 years of operations. Thus, the business plan or the business roadmap answers the basic questions: where am I now? Where am I going? And how will I get there? Potential investors, suppliers and even customers will request or require a business plan. Scope and value of the business plan. Business plans are used by entrepreneurs for various purposes. It can be used to get debt from bank or to get equity funding from angel investors or venture capitalists. It can also be used to attract business partners and key employees or to make business alliance. Often, many lacunae in the business planning comes to the fore only when the plan has been put down in paper. So, a business plan also gives the entrepreneur an opportunity to think through and come up with the answers to questions that had not been considered previously. It helps determine the visibility of the venture in a designated market. It provides guidance to the entrepreneur in organizing his or her planning activities. Third, it serves as an important tool in helping to obtain financing. A business plan must describe the company, its product and entrepreneurial team. Also, it must state the money needed by the business and how it will be spent, as well as the objectives of the business and how they would be achieved. At the end, the business plan must help the entrepreneur understand the business and make him or her confident with that the venture's objectives can be achieved. Writing a business plan. A good business plan should not only concentrate on the strengths of the business but also make a realistic assessment of its risks and shortcomings too, making a convincing presentation of the company's worth. Like any other project, writing a business plan has to be carefully planned and systematically executed. The first thing is to define the purpose. A business plan will serve its purpose better if its purpose is spelled out in its very beginning. There may be multiple goals in writing of the business plan. For example, the entrepreneur may be planning or using the business plan to secure a bank finance as well as attract a major corporation as a strategic partner. The second thing to do is to collect information. All sort of information about the business and the industry should be collected and supplemented adequately for any informational gaps. Quality rating of the information can be a latter exercise. Third thing to do is write down things. After collating information, plan a rough structure appropriate for the business plan and commence writing. At start, noting things on a paper is more important than sequence and grammar. Approach it like a brainstorming session, putting through thoughts on a paper rather than critical of your effort. Prepare a rough draft. That is the fourth thing to do. Shaping the business plan and make it concrete by correcting grammatical errors and breaking up the written account into meaningful sections. This happens to be the next step. Comparing the writing to the intended outline and incorporating the necessary changes leads the way. Writing progresses shall uncover further information required. The rough draft would require decisions on the level of details necessary to be included in the business plan. After this, we do financial analysis. The numbers will continue to be an important part, and after all, the costs and revenue estimates have to be arrived at. A pro forma financial statement are to be drafted. that will lead to the drawing up of a sensitivity analysis, the return on investment calculation, the break-even analysis, and other financial ratios. The numbers should be realistic and consistent. Then we come down to finalizing the plan. Finalizing the business plan is certainly a hard job. Language and spellings have to be checked, the numbers have to be scrutinized, and formatting has to be complete. Even small errors can be leaving a very bad impression. The business plan should not be ornate, but should have a professional look about it. Set a deadline for completing it and adhere to the deadline. Then we try to get the plan reviewed. A business plan should be reviewed by a professional acquaintance rather than by self. After getting comments on the plan, they should be incorporated only if the suggestions are convincing you towards business interest. Data collection. A business plan should include the following data as listed below, collected early in the business plan towards the writing process. Company details. Company details should include documents relating to formation, shareholding details, permits and registrations. Management details. Management details should include organizational chart, details of the key employees, consultants and advisors, compensation and other employee agreements. Industry and competitor details. They should include market statistics from secondary sources, reports on trends, etc., competitor data and customer survey. Operations should include production specification, contracts and purchase order for raw material, competitive advantages, details of intellectual property, that is patents, license, trademarks, regulatory approvals, industry standards as per regulations, plant layout and operations plan, and marketing, research, development plans. Marketing and sales information should include market plan, advance orders if any, and marketing materials. Financial information would include data on fixed and variable costs to be incurred, financial forecasts. Although not an exhaustive list, it is only an indicative of the kind of information that are required for the compilation of the business plan. Kinds of business plans. The ideal level of detailing required in the business plan depends on the business idea and also on the main purpose of writing the plan. Broadly speaking, there are 5 versions of business plans for an entrepreneur to choose from. Summary plan. A 10 to 15 page summary plan can be used by an entrepreneur interested in testing the investment waters. On finding sufficient interest from the investors, a more comprehensive business plan can be assembled. The summary plan should include enough information to convince potential investors that 1. The business idea is sound and viable, 2. The entrepreneurial team is committed and capable to make the business idea a success, and 3. The team has studied the market and understood the business. The second is a full business plan. A detailed full business plan is a very useful aid in clarifying complicated business models and complex operations to potential financiers. It contains all relevant information about the proposed business. It is enriched by a number of exhibits which present market analysis, financials and sales forecast with technical reports. All assumptions, risks and critical factors are laid out in this business plan for the reader to evaluate. The third is an operational business plan. An operational business plan becomes important once operation commences. This business plan is envisaged as a source of guidance to managers and other employees. It serves as a manual on the company operations. It helps managers understand the organization's goal and directs them towards their role in achieving the goals. Components of the business plan. The key sections in the business plan are as follows. A. Executive summary. The executive summary is the most important section of the business plan. It is designed to be complete yet concise business plan by itself. Bankers and venture capitalists generally go through the executive summary first, and only if they are inquest in it, the interest is confirmed, will they go to the next section. So, the main objective of an executive summary is to entice the reader to go through the entire plan. There are 2 broad approaches to make an executive summary. First, making an executive summary and then using it as a base for making the rest of the detailed plan. The second approach could be preparing the business plan first and then summarizing the important points in an executive summary. A combination of both these approaches can also be taken. B. Description of the business. In the first full section of the business plan, the venture and its business is properly introduced, describing the business and neatly presenting its business model. By the end of this section, the reader should have a good idea of what product or service the business aims to deliver and how the entrepreneur plans to do it. The first part to this is history. History can include some details of the origin of the business idea, which leads to the idea and formation of the company and the initial supporters, while the second part is the current status. This should summarize the comprehensive details about the current status of the organization, including its legal entity, place of operation, current size, etc., and the subsection. The third subsection talks about the future. It should give a sense of the direction the company is going to take in the coming years. The company's future should make sense with reference to the history of the industry and the capability of the startup. C. Talks about the management team. For gauging the viability of the startup, financiers and venture capitalists focus special attention for the following characteristics from the entrepreneur: technical and professional qualifications, quality work experience, experience in the relevant sector, reputation in the business community, moral integrity, financial capacity, networking with other vital people in the industry. This should present all the strengths of the entrepreneurs or details of any distinguished external consultants being engaged to help for specific activities. Description about how the company is going to be organized and the roles and responsibilities of the various peoples in the organization should also be detailed herein. An organizational chart as an exhibit can also be included. D. Talks about the industry and the market. A brief description of the industry in which the venture intends to operate, the size of the industry, its consumption and its structure, along with any recent significant events in the industry that might have impact on the business should find a mention. There should be an analysis of the future trends of the industry and their likely impact on the business. Also, it should be followed by a detailed market survey report as an exhibit. A market survey carried out by an independent market research firm will add authenticity to the estimates given in the business plan. E. Talks about operation. This section of the business plan should explain the business operational plan to the reader. A description for getting the business underway, including detailed plans for buying land, constructing the plant and installing the machinery should be mentioned. Activities related to securing permits and other regulatory compliances are also explained in this section. A chart clearly mentioning milestones and dates can be included as an exhibit. A Gantt chart can be used, which can be really helpful in presenting all the information regarding the construction or development. For many businesses, it becomes important to state their strategy with respect to raw material. Also, details of any property or proprietary intellectual property can be mentioned in this section. In case of a complex product, the key processes needed to be described, manufacturing costs have to be mentioned, decisions on current installed capacities have to be stated and justified. Future expansion of the manufacturing facilities, if required, has to be discussed. The startup committee to quality and its approach to maintaining quality will be of immense interest to the financier. The business plan shall mention how quality processes are to be put in place and its inspection for audit policy. Subjects dealt with in this section need to be adequately supported by exhibits like a photo of the product or its current prototype, a diagram of the proposed manufacturing facility, a graphical chart outlining the production process, etc. F talks about the marketing plan. The marketing plan includes all that the startup proposes to do to promote its product and to sell the product. The proposed pricing and its rationale, the company's own cost structure, and how the customer's value and product needs to be detailed. Broadly speaking, the main decisions could be between pricing the product high and profiting from high margins, but probably sacrificing high volume of sales and pricing the product low to achieve high market penetration and maximizing profits through high volumes although lower margins. The channel strategy selected should match the product and goals of the company and capability of the company to support the distributors and retailers. The section should contain a budget for advertising too. A realistic amount be set aside for promoting the brand, and there should be a realistic expectation from the exercise. Financial plan. The financial plan is one of the most looked at sections in the business plan. Most of the financial information is contained in the projected financial statements. In addition to the projected balance sheets and profit and loss accounts, some business plans find it important to include a fund flow statement. These projections can be for 3 to 5 years. As there are projections, there is nothing definite about these figures and there may be variations. Some sensitivity analysis can also be done to present the impact of these variations. A break-even analysis will reveal a lot about how the business is structured and how much risk it entails. Analysis can be easily presented in a graphical format as an exhibit. The business plan usually seeks to raise money. This section has to outline how much money will be needed, why it is needed, and how it is proposed to be used. One of the main challenges in preparing a financial statement is that all the statements should be consistent with each other and with the other assumptions mentioned in the other sections of the plan. Any future funding and venture is likely to seek can be represented in the projected financial statement. Some commonly used financial ratios can also be used to convey additional information on performance, risk and liquidity, but this should not be overdone as the ratios are going to be based on the projected figures and not on real data. Risks and contingencies. A financer is really happy to note that entrepreneurs have been able to correctly identify risks and threats and has taken action to produce the business from the likely and the more dangerous of the various threats. Threats can result from changes in government rules and policies, from a change in consumer preferences. Possible threats, but at least major ones, have to be identified and plans have to be sketched out to mitigate the dangers posed by them. Appendices. The following list is intended to serve as a comprehensive summary of appendices that could form a part of the business plan. It is important to note that not all the following items have to be there in every business plan. Similarly, some business plans may need certain other items in appendices in addition to some of those mentioned below. 1. Copy of documents pertaining to incorporation or formalization of the business. 2. CV of the entrepreneurs and of the key employees. 3rd. Copies of various permits or permissions granted. 4th. Copies of papers pertaining to the sale or lease of land for the business. 5th. Copies of documentation of proprietary intellectual property, trademark, patents, etc. 6th. Graphical representation of schedule including milestone and dates. 7th. Photographs of location within business where the location is important, such as retail, restaurants, etc. 8. Factory or plant layout. 9th. Graphical representation of production process. 10th. Findings of market survey conducted. 11th. Photographs of products or prototype. 12th. Storyboards or markups of advertisements. 13th. Projected balance sheets. 14th. Projected profit and loss account. 15th. Projected cash flow statements. 16th. Sensitivity analysis of profit and loss account. 17th. Break-even analysis. And 18th. Financial ratios. Updating the business plan. The most effective business plan can become out of date if conditions change. Environmental factors such as economy, customers, new technology and competition can all change in the direction of the business plan. Thus, it is important to be sensitive to the changes in the company, industry and market. The entrepreneur should determine what revisions are needed. In this manner, the entrepreneur can maintain reasonable targets and goals and keep the new venture on a course that will increase its probability of success. Summary: a business plan is a written representation of vision for the business. It is an integration of functional plans such as marketing, finance, manufacturing, and human resource plans, and addresses the decisions making for the first 3 to 5 years of business operation. Business plans are used to attract business partners or business alliance and provides guidance to the entrepreneur in organizing their planning activity. A business plan is written by concentrating on the strengths of the business and making a realistic assessment of its risks and shortcomings too, making a convincing representation of the company's worth. Regular updating of a business plan keeps it viable in the changing times. This is all that we have learned in business plans. Thank you.